So in my last video, I read comments under terrible YouTube documentaries, and it got me thinking about Gaia. And if you're not familiar with Gaia, it's a streaming service except exclusively for these kinds of documentaries. This time around, I still did not watch any of the actual videos because, I mean, just by the titles alone, you can tell there is nothing of substance in these videos. Either way, the first video is, "This changes everything. Plasma is the fourth state of matter." And I mean, they're right. This changes everything. Plasma was only discovered in... Okay, so plasma's been around for a while. This isn't exactly a new discovery. But that does not stop people in the comments being amazed, I think. I'm honestly not sure. I once saw a UFO up close, and it was like a plasma orange sphere. It wasn't ball lightning, it was definitely intelligently controlled. I've never seen anything like it, and never since. Come on, we haven't even gotten to the alien ones yet, and this guy's already bringing up aliens. Hence, you need to get out after a lightning storm because the air is filled with negative ions, but that is positive for your health. I don't know about that one, guy. I'm not sure. The universe is alive because it gave birth to us and we are living inside it. It's a more complex living life for those more distributed than we are, and it's operating at a different scale, just like things that are smaller than us operate faster, it operates slower. I don't know, man. To my understanding, the universe is a whole hell of a lot of nothing, and then occasionally a something. And then the guy responded to his own comment twice. I don't know what that's about. The first state, maybe? The first state is 1D. Dimensions are not a state of matter. Terrence Howard said this last year. Terrence Howard also says 1 times 1 equals 2. I'm not so sure about anything that guy says. Thankfully, I was not the only person who noticed that plasma is not a new discovery. There were several people who pointed out in the comments. The next video is called "Pleiadians Share Near Identical DNA with Us, Not by Coincidence, but by Design." Right off the bat, the first comment that I saw was just a bot promoting an unrelated book, but the rest of the comments seem to be very critical of a guy called Rick Doty. Nothing Doty says will ever convince me of anything. Sorry, just can't listen to anything Richard Doty says without thinking about what my ex-husband's former CIA uncle used to say. Once a company man, always a company man. Well, I mean, if you can't trust your ex-husband's uncle, who can you trust? I don't know what it is about this guy, but I believe in nothing that comes out of his mouth. Okay, when did the Pleiadians become Greys? Sounds like a psyop. The M45 star cluster is filled with Lyran human life. Doty is on the DS payroll. So I was naturally really curious to find out who Richard Doty was. I mean, everyone in the comments section seemed to distrust this guy like he was some sort of supervillain. So I looked him up and I couldn't find much about him. The only thing I could find was a movie called Mirage Men, which I think stars the same Richard Doty. It's a documentary about how the US made up fake UFO stories. This is all just, I think, what it is. So it's a documentary about how the US made up UFO folklore in order to disguise real secret projects they were working on. Which is so funny to me. These people will believe anyone without any credentials just because they said something. But then someone with actual credentials says UFOs aren't real and they don't believe a word he says. There's no way. There's no way this guy could be telling the truth. He actually, we have a reason to believe him, therefore we can't believe him. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this, but that's what it seems like is happening. But there were some other interesting comments other than those ones. "When I was a boy, I felt that my internals are the materials of stars." I couldn't even begin to tell you what that means. I couldn't get a million miles in radius of what that means. "Raising one's level of consciousness involves detaching from the physical realm and becoming one with everything. And with that can make a tree grow in minutes, or walk on water, or levitate. Tibetan monks have been doing it for centuries." Man, that's crazy. There must be one record of Tibetan monks doing something like this. Because they have been doing it. So there's at least one record of it. Oh, and the last comment is the same bot comment we started with. And the next video is "Are Stargates and Vortexes Found by AI Computer Tech?" Starring this guy who looks like the stereotypical crazy guy from every alien invasion movie. This guy asks, what is there if not deep, dark space? I guess at some point the existence of deep, dark space was brought up. However, this true intellectual explains, space isn't how NASA portrays it, bro. That's why the Earth ain't no ball floating in midair. The sun is indeed a portal. I like how it's less believable that the Earth could be a ball floating in air than the sun is a portal. But does that mean that the cumbersome, awful travel that we have now is going to be replaced by portal travel? Because if so, it would save a lot of nature from being harmed, and also make things run smoother and safer overall. I don't know if I would consider portal travel safer than regular travel. I saw a black angel one time. Cool guy. That's not really relevant right now, honestly. Space is not real, and that's exactly why the Earth isn't a ball floating in it, laughing, crying emoji. And this guy, of course, knows this because he's seen it. Or I guess the lack of it. Wait a minute, if space isn't real, then what's that? The next video is the mysterious light body. How do humans activate it? I send unlimited abundance of love light energies to everyone. Everywhere. You can keep it, Jeanette. I seen colorful lights in my childhood, and one night I thought I was seeing a row of colorful light angels outside my window, and the tiny colorful lights would come out at night and zoom across my ceiling. At first I was frightened, but after a while, I grew accustomed to them. Now do you think, maybe, just maybe, this wasn't a spiritual experience, but was in fact definitely just car lights? Meditation is the answer. It changes your physiology from bones and organs to light. I achieved it. Much spiritual reality. Alright, guy, humble brag. You can turn your body into light. I guess if you're ever in the dark without a flashlight, you got us beat. Oh hey, it's another bot promoting an unrelated book. Could there be evil people, aliens or otherwise, who feed on this field of light, imprisoning humans to live an unevolved life? Personally, I lost this field of light, and it began to wane from the age of 25 onwards. I mean, there's no reason to believe that aliens feed off the light source. I love this question out of nowhere. Could there be aliens feeding off the light? I don't know, man. I mean, could there be Fresno nightcrawlers feeding off our windshield wiper fluid? Scary questions, man. Scary questions. The next video is the Arcturian perspective on the meaning of life and importance of lineage. Is that an Arcturian? It certainly looks like one. Arcturians are elders of our universe. They do not put themselves above others, but as equals in unity, although they are very evolved to a very high level. It is so frustrating, the amount of confidence people will use when asserting this shit. It's just said, flat out, as though it was any common knowledge. I spent 5 years learning about manifestation, and only when I started digging deeper did I truly learn how to manipulate reality. Read the book by Kalen Jr., a former 33rd degree Mason. He exposed all the techniques inside. I don't know how being a high-ranking Mason is qualifications for teaching you how to manipulate reality. So the whole fight is about who knows better? Nowadays, I don't strive for knowledge. You know, it's crazy, but I could tell. At this point, I had to change it up because there weren't really a whole lot of comments to go through on these videos, because no one was watching the videos. So I decided to look through some of their most popular videos to see if I can find more stuff. And right off the bat, I found full episode, The Gods Were Astronauts. So I thought I was off to a pretty good start, but all of the comments are just praising the guy giving the speech in the video. Just like non-stop praise. Like he's the greatest thing since cosmonaut Poseidon. He has single-handedly transformed the intellectual landscape. And given what I found on Wikipedia, yeah, I'd say that's probably true. I found a lot on Wikipedia. The Vatican holds the answers and has kept man in the Dark Ages for far too long now. Great lecture, thank you. You can't just go from accusing the Vatican of concealing secret alien gods to saying, that was a great lecture, thank you. This man is certainly making me rethink everything I was taught growing up. Thank you for this video. Man, these people will rethink everything they thought they knew at the drop of a hat. I mean, you could just say anything to them. People like this pride themselves on being independent thinkers, but then anything you tell them is like changing their world. They don't have a single follow-up question, but they're rethinking everything they thought they knew. In my philosophy class in college, I said, what if God was an alien? They laughed at me. Rightfully so. I wish you were my grandpa. That is such a strange thing to just say in the comment section of a video. Imagine you're this guy and you finish giving your lecture and everyone's like, oh, that was amazing. That was life-changing. I'm rethinking everything I thought I knew. And then one guy comes up to you, he shakes your hand and he goes, I wish you were my grandpa. Such an exceptional person. He is also very right when he claims that our history is wrong. Did gods send him down to Earth to prepare us? I don't know, man. If the gods sent down their champion to prepare us, they probably wouldn't send him in the form of an old man and on a YouTube video with less than 1 million views. We tend to learn more about our true history from people like Eric than our own government. It's good luck then that it's not the government's job to teach you history. Alright, the next one is revelations from alien encounters. This is what we've been looking for. Ideally, the comment section will be full of UFO stories. Also, gotta love that disclaimer at the beginning. I was in a tent, dreaming about a UFO landing and guiding my girlfriend into the ship. I watched it happen while standing behind her. She entered the ship. I was startled awake by her getting into the tent and figured it was just a dream. In the morning, she did not recall ever getting out of the tent, but she said she dreamed about aliens landing outside our tent. About 6 months later, she had a dream about giving birth to a boy and naming him. The next day, we went to the clinic and found out she was pregnant. We named him, as in her dream, Elijah. What makes it odd is neither of us were ever raised religiously. Agnostic would be the closest description. But we definitely felt it was important to follow our dreams. Holy shit, man. I just wanted a UFO story, not your fucking life story. Also, you say you're not religious, but you also feel like it's important to follow your dreams. Don't you think that might have an effect on how you view your dreams? If you're, predetermined to be like, well, this dream must be of some importance, then yeah, you can find a connection. You can draw any connection if you make it vague enough. I had a dream that a pineapple fell out of a spaceship and killed my grandma. And then 6 months later, my grandma ran over a little boy with her mobility scooter. It must be connected somehow. She's been on a mission for years trying to tell people the truth. I salute her. People like this will accept anyone who just says random garbage as a truth teller. Everyone everywhere may say what this person says is bullshit, but that's just because she's a truth teller and no one wants her to get the truth out. So the Vedic people knew it all. The whole universe is just about vibrations at different frequencies. The chakras and all. Unbelievable. Really out of this world. The secrets are starting to unfold, slowly but surely. Something tells me the secrets that are unfolding for this guy are that chocolate milk doesn't actually come from brown cows. Unbelievable. Really out of this world. I have 3 hours of myself under hypnotic regression, telling of an experience similar to the one in this video, although I was a small child when the event happened. Have you ever noticed how all of these stories come from, oh, when I was a small child, I had such and such experience? Maybe it's just because you're a dumbass kid who doesn't know how to make sense of the world, so you just remember it as aliens and shit. Oh my goodness, could you not make it a little bit more concise? I'm not reading that. Oh my gosh, did you fucking hear that? My chakras are clogged and my vocal cords are falling apart. Greys definitely exist. They speak to you telepathically and they will rummage through your cabinets. It seemed like a dream and I was terrified. They told me I was dreaming, and they weren't there to hurt me or my family. I know this sounds crazy, and the dream wasn't drug-induced, alright? The fentanyl that I boofed earlier had nothing to do with it. I heard something loud in my kitchen and woke up to go inspect what was going on. At the time I had 2 toddlers, and I thought they had gotten up early, and that was them in the kitchen playing with pots and pans. I go to the kitchen and there are 2 to 3 greys in my kitchen cabinets, and one on the countertop, rummaging through my pots and pans. I thought they were looking for medals after my heart stopped racing. I can't remember anything else except for waking up in my bed and there being 1 pot left on the counter when I got up the next morning that wasn't out the night before. I also had a dream about the binary codes you were talking about in this video. They were green 1s and 0s on a black background, like old computer codes, and they were constantly changing. I haven't had any encounters since, but I do get some wild dreams from time to time. It's really hard to discuss because most people will just write you off as having mental health issues. They'll just say, oh, James, you haven't taken your medication in 10 days. For the love of God, drink some water. Completely close-minded. Alright, and the last one I have is, are the gods and angels of the Bible really extraterrestrial extraterrestrial beings. It's great, the same warning as last time. I'm a Pentecostal Christian from Malaysia, and this is amazing. How can you claim to be like a Christian and then also believe that God is an alien? I'm no theologian, but I'm pretty sure those two beliefs are incompatible. Eric? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention it's the same guy, Eric, from earlier who made this video. Eric, I am speechless. Well, thank you for sharing your research with us as a Christian that is familiar with the book of Ezekiel and who believes these UFOs are real. This is a perspective I've never heard. You just gained a loyal follower slash supporter in your work. Oh yeah, the book of Ezekiel. There was something that looked like a throne on top of the bowl. It was a blue sapphire. There was also something that looked like a man sitting on the throne. You know what? That's actually pretty compelling. This is a good mystery. If only there was something that, I don't know, answered the question of what this was a few lines later, right there in the text. But unfortunately, I guess it's just aliens. I had some of the same questions as a child. A jealous God? A God who tests whether a man would sacrifice his own son? Didn't seem like godly traits to me. And I'm sure, of course, this person would know godly traits. I mean, anyone familiar with theology or apologetics would have answers to these questions. Sorry, I know that's not really related to aliens, but neither was this comment. When people choose to stop believing in God, they don't believe in nothing. They then become capable of believing in anything. But don't mistake that for just because you believe in God, there's no way you could possibly be mistaken. I have often said to my Christian friend that Jesus was an extraterrestrial being, but he simply wouldn't accept that. I explained to him that the reason you find it hard to accept is because you are thinking on a very basic level. When someone says extraterrestrial, people think little green man in a spacecraft. They are thinking of what we have been shown in movies and books, not what extraterrestrial actually means. Regardless of what Jesus looked like, he, by definition, is an extraterrestrial being. I will just leave the definition here. Of or from outside the Earth or its atmosphere. Okay, well, a couple of things. First of all, I hate it when people say, I said this, but someone just couldn't accept that. They're not obligated to just accept anything you say. If they disagree with what you say, it's not that they just can't accept that. Maybe they have a reason not to believe what you have to say. Also, Jesus Christ is God, but he's also man. So he's not extraterrestrial because he's a man. He was literally born on Earth. Gaia just changed my perspective as a human being. Once again, people completely willing to flip their worldview on a dime. Anyway, that's all the terrible comments it's reasonable to put in a YouTube video.